Welcome to the Rescheck blog. Today on the Rescheck blog, we would like to discuss with you how to perform a Rescheck. Today on the Rescheck blog, we want to look into a question we get all the time on our blog: how to perform a Rescheck. We know some easy ways to get the DIY Rescheck creator started, so let's give you some simple instructions to help you get your first Rescheck started based on our Rescheck service experience. Your initial setup is going to be much like building a house. You need a good foundation. The foundation of any Rescheck is having a good set of plans. We always suggest that you get a full-size set of paper plans. This has multiple purposes. A full-size set of plans for Rescheck is easier because you can write data on the actual pages. You can keep them in your files to reference later, and it's easier for your eyes to look at than a microscopic PDF on a computer screen. So before you do anything, take a trip to the home office supply store and print off a full-size set of your plans. Whether you create 1 or 100 do-it-yourself Reschecks, performing a Rescheck is just easier when you have the right set of plans. For us, that means having a full-size set of paper plans. Next, you have a decision to make. You can use one of two softwares that has been created and maintained by the Pacific Northwest Laboratory and the Department of Energy. These softwares are Rescheck Web and Rescheck Desktop. You can use Rescheck Desktop without an internet connection. Rescheck Web is totally web-based and all your data is stored online. Rescheck Web has the best selection of codes and is easier to use when performing your first Rescheck. So I'm going to suggest that you perform your first Rescheck using Rescheck Web, the online version of Rescheck software. You have your set of plans and you have your Rescheck software chosen. Now, what you need to do is get started on grabbing data out of your plan to use in your Rescheck. To get started, go ahead and find your job site address and square footage. These will go on the first page of your software in Rescheck Web along with other basic project data. Save your project in the upper right hand side of the screen and move to the project page. On your plans, what you want to do is find your ceiling R value of insulation, wall R value of insulation, window U values and SHGC, door U values and SHGC, and your foundation R value of insulation. Once you have this data points, you should do the next thing is find the square footage of the components. When you have the square footage of the correct component on the project page and enter them one by one. Enter the square footage of the component first and then the R value all going down the page. I typically start at the roof of the structure and I'll work my way down the Rescheck software. You should now have everything entered into Rescheck Web. What you'll need to do is click Check Compliance. That will give you a pass or fail score. Now, if you pass, you can generate a PDF of your Rescheck. If you fail, you need to go back and add insulation to your components. That might be below your local energy code. With your PDF of your Rescheck, what you want to do is sign, date, and fill out the checklist and submit it to the building department along with your building application and full-size set of plans. You have now learned how to create a Rescheck. You can use this Rescheck tutorial to create more than just your first DIY Rescheck. We also offer a Rescheck service if you get jammed up on any portion of our Rescheck how-to instructions. 4 to 6 hours, we can create a Rescheck for you, only $79. Simply email plans, job site address, and square footage to service@rescheck.info, and we will get you taken care of. If you're ready to get started, what you want to do is go to the upper right hand side of the screen, click Buy Now, go over here, choose your 79 Rescheck, and you are ready to go. Thanks again for listening to the Rescheck blog.